What is up, guys? So, as you can tell by the title, this is a review for Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Before the review, I'll just give my general consensus of the movie and then get into the spoilers, because you really can't talk about the movie without giving away spoilers. Or at least I can't. I will for a little bit, though. So, The Last Jedi is, if anything, an entertaining movie. It had a lot of funny moments. The first two acts were really good, although the Finn and Rose subplot was pointless and stupid and boring. And then almost all the performances were incredible. Like I said, other than Rose and that new Codebreaker guy, those guys were actually pretty bad. And although the first two acts were really good, the third act didn't live up to what The Force Awakens and the first two acts of what The Last Jedi built. It was really underwhelming. So that was my general consensus of the movie. I thought it was good. It was a little underwhelming. Really, it was good at best, but a little underwhelming. But now we get into the spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, click off the video, go watch the movie, and then come back. Okay, here we go. The Last Jedi, like I just said, took everything Force Awakens built and basically threw it into the trash. Like the mystery of who Rey's parents are. Is Luke her father? Is it Han Solo or Obi-Wan Kenobi? Nope, it's just some random people who abandoned her because of reasons. They got what they were going for, like making Rey basically a nobody so that Kylo Ren could use that against her to make her join him. But I still think it's pretty lame and anticlimactic. It just makes the mystery they've built in The Force Awakens pointless. Like, it's been 2 years since then, and there's been so many theories, and it turns out that not a single one of those theories is correct. And that's just, it feels wrong to me. Then there's the mystery of who Supreme Leader Snoke is, and just him clearly being the main villain of the trilogy, at least if you look at The Force Awakens and most of The Last Jedi. But not only do we never figure out who he is, he just straight up dies. After all the buildup of him, and he was actually a pretty scary, threatening villain in this movie, they just kill him, which I thought it was a cool scene, the scene where Snoke is talking to Kylo and saying how Kylo is about to kill his greatest enemy, and then he kills Snoke. But I just thought that him dying right there was pretty underwhelming and anticlimactic because the fact that he died. But at least we got a cool storyline out of that with Kylo Ren turning to the light side, right? Well, that's the thing. Not only did the things that Force Awakens built not pan out, but neither did the things The Last Jedi built, like Kylo Ren turning to the light side, not pan out. Like, you had Kylo not shooting Leia near the beginning and then having all those conversations with Rey and then killing Snoke and fighting alongside Rey against those red stormtroopers. And after all that, in a twist that is not a good type of twist because it just ruins everything, it just makes everything you've seen up till now pointless. Like, this movie has been giving us so much character development for Kylo Ren, so much character development with all the conversations with Rey, like I said, and everything that I listed, and him not shooting Leia, him killing Snoke, and then fighting alongside Rey. All that character development was leading up to him turning into the light side. But then he still stays on the dark side, which is pretty disappointing. It would have been so cool if Kylo didn't kill Snoke at all and Snoke somehow got away from that area, but still fought alongside Rey against those red stormtroopers, and then in the third movie has Rey and Kylo Ren team up against Snoke, and that would have made so much more sense going off everything Force Awakens built, and more importantly, everything the most of what Last Jedi built. All of that was extremely disappointing and is my main problem with this movie, the fact that everything that was building up to the finale of this movie just fell through, and none of it came to fruition, which is so unsatisfying. There were a lot of things that I actually liked about this movie, though. Like I said, the first two acts were really good, except for the Finn and Rose subplot. Almost all of the performances, or at least the main character performances in this movie, were amazing. Like Mark Hamill, Daisy Ridley, Adam Driver, and Oscar Isaac especially. I said almost because John Boyega and whoever plays Rose weren't great. Maybe that's just because they weren't given much to work with, because their whole subplot was pointless and boring and stupid. Honestly, the subplot took me out of the movie. I really didn't like it. And I didn't like any of the characters involved in it. Finn is okay, I guess, but like I said, Rose is a really bad character. She just comes out of nowhere and she's useless, really. I don't know why she was there at all, except to give Benicio del Toro's character, who I don't even know what his name is. I think it's a DJ, but they never actually say that, to give him that thing, her necklace. Speaking of DJ, he was so weird. But right, I'm supposed to be talking about the good things about this movie, and that shot where the purple-haired woman, I don't remember her name, flies at light speed right at the First Order ship was incredible. It was one of the coolest looking shots in any Star Wars movie, if not the coolest shot. It was nothing short of amazing. There weren't a lot of fight scenes in this movie. I think there were 3 in total. The 2 lightsaber ones were amazing, like the Rey and Kylo Ren versus Red Stormtroopers fight scene was really well choreographed and just looked so good. And then the Kylo Ren versus Luke fight scene, which technically wasn't exactly a fight scene because they never touched each other, but that fight scene was really clever and ended with a great twist, and I didn't even notice that their lightsabers never actually touched, as far as I remember, because if they did touch and like clash with each other, that would just basically make the whole twist not make any sense. So I don't think they actually touched, which is pretty genius, honestly, and it made the twist both unexpected because I didn't notice it, and then also believable because after the twist happened, I thought about it and it made so much sense. This movie is 2.5 hours long. That's a really long movie. I'm not gonna lie, I noticed how long it was because I checked the time a couple times. I got bored from time to time because of how long it was. It was a little bit too long. I think 2 hours and 10 minutes or 15 minutes is longer than it needs to be, or that's just perfect. Just 2 hours and 15 minutes would have been the perfect length, but it's just because the subplot was pointless. If we just take out the subplot, this movie's probably an hour and a half long, which sounds like a much better movie to me because the subplot is pointless. I think the subplot's actually my second biggest issue with this movie. In conclusion, this movie was entertaining, it was funny, which I didn't even mention, but it had some funny moments and some good-looking shots, like the purple-haired woman just light speeding right at the First Order ship. That was amazing. And then really great performances from a lot of characters, but then also some really bad performances from Rose and Benicio del Toro, who was just so weird. The first 2 acts were really promising, but then the Finn Rose subplot was stupid, pointless. I just didn't like it at all. It was also really boring. I think I said that, I don't know. And the third act just doesn't live up to what the first 2 acts promised. Just to clarify, after writing and recording this whole thing, I did notice that some of the things I listed that I said happened in the third act actually happened in the second act. So all that living up to the promise thing, it was all over the place, really. So the third act wasn't bad at all. It had a lot of great moments, like the Luke versus Kylo Ren fight scene. That was amazing. So yeah, when I say it didn't live up to the promise, I'm not specifically talking about the third act. I'm talking about everything that just didn't live up to the promise that The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi set. After I watched The Force Awakens, I definitely cared what would happen next in this universe, even though I didn't really care about the universe. Just because that movie was so good, it made me care what happens next in this universe. But because of The Last Jedi, despite the fact that it was not bad, the fact that it was just okay or good at best makes me really not care that much about what happens next in the universe. That might be because they killed off like all of the characters, meaning Luke and Snoke, the main hero of the universe and then the main villain of this trilogy. They killed them both off, and that just makes me lose all interest in this universe as of now. But considering this isn't the end of the trilogy, there's still another movie in the trilogy to complete it, I guess I'm still kind of excited for the next episode or the next movie, just because I really hope it fixes what this movie damaged, kinda, with my perception of the universe. I give this movie a 7.5 out of 10. It wasn't the best movie of the year, definitely, but I enjoyed most of it, despite the fact that it had a lot of issues and it was a little bit too long. I still enjoyed most of it. Now, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. I liked the Clone Wars TV show as a kid. That had some nostalgia for me, and I also had the Star Wars toys where I fought with my brothers. But the original trilogy and the prequels have nothing for me. The original trilogy is outdated and before my time. It gives me no nostalgia because I didn't watch it until I was a teenager. So it's outdated. It's just not good. It's barely watchable. And then the prequels are really bad. So that's why The Last Jedi is actually the second best Star Wars movie ever for me. after The Force Awakens and right before Rogue One, which Rogue One's okay. Force Awakens is really good, and then Last Jedi is, I'd say it's good at best, but a little underwhelming. But I want to know what you think about the movie and what you think about the future of Star Wars. Obviously, this movie is going to make a lot of money, but I don't think it deserves it, really. The Force Awakens deserved it. This doesn't really. It's not great. But what do you think about the movie? Let me know in the comments down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.